Okay, so in this video, we're going to be recreating the Lego brick that Ben and Adam were talking about. So if you go to Slack, you'll be able to see the technical drawings that has all the dimensions, and then you can pull that up on one tab and then have Onshape in another tab and just follow along with the video. So as always, we're going to create a new part in our own folder. Make sure you are in the 1998 or 3161 classroom, depending on which team you're on, 2026 preseason, and then in your own folder. So blue button, create document. We're going to call this Lego. Okay, so once we're in our part studio in the proper folder, and make sure you have this named properly so that some mentors can take a look, um, we're going to start by drawing a sketch on the top plane. So to do that, we're going to select top plane and then hit sketch. And then one thing that we always teach you is to view it normal or perpendicular to. So you can go to the bottom or the top, doesn't really matter. And then I'm also going to hide the planes. So that's P in your keyboard. And you'll notice that down here in the screen recording, whatever I type, so all the keyboard shortcuts you'll be able to see. Okay, so like I said, it doesn't really matter if you view top or bottom, but as long as you're on the top plane, then when we start drawing everything will make sense in 3D space. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a center point rectangle. And you always want to make sure that you start at the origin. So from reading the technical drawings, I know that this dimension on the long side is going to be 1.252 inches. And this vertical dimension is going to be 0.622. Okay, now that we have our fully dimensioned rectangle, we're going to come up over here and hit the green check mark. And then we're going to select the sketch and extrude it. So that's Shift D on your keyboard. And now we can extrude this to a dimension of 0.378 inches. And then just hit enter again, and you'll see the Lego bricks start to form. Okay, now we're going to start drawing the studs on the top surface of the Lego brick. So the first step is to select the top face and then hit sketch. And again, you want to view normal, so hit the top. And now we're going to start by drawing a circle. And on the Lego stud, there's 8, but we're going to draw one for now, and you'll see why in a second. So we're going to start by dimensioning it horizontally from this edge over here. And that dimension is 0.154. And then we'll do vertically from the bottom edge. And that is also 0.154. And now we're going to dimension the diameter. And that is 0.189. Now we're going to select our circle, and we're going to come over here to the linear pattern tool. And you'll see over here, we have a couple of parameters. So you first have your distance between, your horizontal distance between instances, and you have the number of instances. So we're going to change to 4. And we can scale this down. And then it's the same for your vertical. So we want 2, and we can just drag this in. And now we're going to update this dimension to 0.315, and this one to the same 0.315. Now to extrude it, come to Sketch 2, and we're going to go Shift E. And you'll see that it's defaulted to 1 inch, but obviously that's not how thick we need to make it. So we're going to enter into the depth field and go 0.071, and then hit enter. Okay, so you can see here we have the main body of the brick plus the 8 studs on top. Now we're going to draw the cavity on the bottom side. So we're just going to navigate to the bottom face, select it, and then hit sketch. Now that we're in sketch on the bottom face, we can come up here to the offset tool, or O on your keyboard, and select all the 4 faces. And then click the arrow to invert it. And this dimension is 0.047. And then you can hit the check mark. And then to close the sketch, green check mark. And we're going to extrude cut this internal rectangle to a depth of 0.339. So again, that's Shift E, and then come over here to remove, and 0.339. Okay, so now that we have our cavity, we're going to draw the connecting studs on the bottom face. So you're going to select your face that you just extruded, and then hit sketch. And then again, just to make it easier to draw, we're going to view directly at the bottom. And we're going to start by drawing 2 concentric circles at the origin. And the internal dimension, or the internal diameter, is going to be 0.189. And the external is going to be 0.256. Now you'll see here that this one is not exactly concentric with the origin or the other circle. So to do that, you can just grab it by the center point here and drag it, and then you'll see this icon pop up, and then let go, and it will lock to the origin, or to whatever point you dropped it on top of. Okay, so now that we have our 2 circles dead center and they're fully dimensioned, we're going to draw another 2, and for starting out, it doesn't really matter where you draw them, as long as the 2 circles are concentric. So I'm just going to draw 2 at any diameter, it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to select this one and hit E on your keyboard. That will make them equal. And then this one and hit E, and you'll see that it automatically updates. So now this dimension, or this diameter, is linked to this one. So if I go ahead and change this to 0.6, you'll see that the other one updates also. Now we're going to select this and this point, and we're going to hit H on our keyboard. That will set them to horizontal. So now this is locked horizontally to that origin line, and I can't go up or down. Now the next thing we're going to do is dimension this. So obviously it's locked in up and down on the vertical dimension, but horizontally we don't know where it goes. So we're going to hit D on our keyboard and dimension the center point, or the center to center distance, C to C it's called, and that's 0.315. Okay, in this example we're going to use the mirror tool to duplicate this stud from the left hand side to the right hand side. And we'll explain why during the meeting this isn't the proper way you'd want to, use a pattern. But again, just for this example, we're going to use the mirror tool. So the first thing you want to do is view your planes again. So that's P on your keyboard. And now you want to select these 2 circles. And then come up over here to the mirror tool. And then you're just going to select this right plane. And you'll notice that once you do that, it automatically duplicates those. And then you can, again, just disable the planes. And then you can see here, if we come and edit this to 0.5, you'll see that this one updates automatically also. Alrighty, now that we have all 3 studs drawn in on the bottom face, we're going to extrude them. So you can view it in 3D if that's helpful. And then you're going to select Sketch 4, hit Extrude tool, and then instead of going to use the blind type, we're going to change this to Up to Face. And Up to Face allows us to update the depth of this Lego brick, and then this extrusion will also update automatically. So it's a lot more parametric and a lot less manual. So with the Up to Face type, you want to select what face you want to stop the extrusion at. So I'm just going to select this, and then you'll notice that it's exactly in line with this, and then you can just hit the green check mark, and there you go. Now something that I did not do during the screen recording of this tutorial was to rename all my feature tree items, so all the sketches and extrusions and extrude cuts. So you want to just right click and then rename it to whatever that feature or item is.